that another animal was snuggling up on Sally, and that the animal was a kitten person. I sat down next to her and said gently, "Hi, my name is Cat Captain Daisy, and if you don't mind me asking, who are you and why are you here?" She replied with a cute kind of voice, "My name is Jane. Me and my granddad were fishing, and we went out too far. We crashed here, and one night he went out looking for wood, and he never came back, but the last words he told me before he went was, 'Johnny, whatever you do, try to find a way to the beach and look for our boat, or stay there until your cousin comes and picks you up.'" After she said that, a single tear ran down her cheek. I sat down next to her and said, "We have all lost people we love, but you can come and stay with us until we make it to the beach, or find our lost loved ones." With that she nodded, and Sally took us back to the camp and into the trees. I felt so sad for the kitten person that I let her sleep in my bed for the afternoon. Her fur was like silk, but sadly some parts of it had been cut off when she tried to escape the thorns and sharp plants which tried to eat her. I think that me and the twin sisters and Jane's cousins that are here to be saving her, because I assume that we were separated when I went to go see her for the past years of my life. Suddenly I heard a scream. It came from down below. I ran straight down the vines and saw that Poppy, one of my crew, heard rustling in the bushes. I got my sword out of my belt and waited. After a while I said, "It might have gone now. Come on, let's go and get the fire started for dinner." Poppy replied, stuttering, "Oh, okay then. I'll go and get the fire started." After that I went to try and find Joe, when suddenly I heard another scream, but this time it wasn't Poppy, it was the twins. I know because their scream was the same. I sprinted and saw that Lucy was pointing at Jill's paw because she fell over and cut it on the vines as she fell. Soon after I took Jill to go and see Leon the doctor. He said, "She shall be fine as long as you let it rest for a few days, and be careful because the creatures on this island are setting traps, so if you go out into the woods tonight, make sure you don't go alone." Soon after that, Joe came shooting down to Leon's hut to see if I was there. When he got there, he looked flushed like never before. I asked him, "Are you okay? You look surprised." Joe said with a big breath, "I hear that you went down to the bottom of the trees and I got worried, so I ran to your hut and you weren't there, so I came down here because I knew what happened to your sisters, and here I am." And with that I ran out of the hut with Joe and gave him a giant kiss on his cheek and hugged him. Thankfully no one saw us. That night, after all the crew, well who were left, went to bed, me and Joe took the first watch. The two of us sat next to each other. I said in a whisper kind of way, "So what were you going to say before we found that adorable kitten?" Joe thought for a minute and then said softly while putting his hand on mine, "I was going to say, if you weren't doing anything tonight, would you like to take a walk around the camp? That way we are still taking first watch and having some fun as well. What do you say?" I thought for a moment, and then, with a giant smile, said softly, "I would really like that, to know you better. Let's go, okay?" And with that the two of us left where we were sitting, and started to walk around the dark and spooky tree. But what we didn't know was that something was watching them from the ground. They did not see it, and something happened. In the morning, I woke up with flowers in my hut and a note saying, "Hi, I was watching you last night with Joe. I am one of those who want to know why things are happening. I am scared to come out in case you think I am one of those who want you dead. If you can meet me at the bottom of the tree, and could Joe come also, could you bring some food please? I am starving. You truly, Georgie Croc." As soon as I got changed, I ran straight to Joe and showed him the letter, and he had one similar too, so without waking anyone up, we went down to the bottom of the tree and said gently, "Hi Georgie Croc, we are here and waiting for you to come out, and we have the food." Within 2 minutes he came, and with a deep and smooth voice he said, "I am in the shadows, please come over and pass me the food, and I shall tell you what you need to stay alive." Suddenly a black and white cat came out from the shadows, but he was bleeding and covered in dirt, so I sat down and had a vision of a big black and white cat cuddling me when I was just a young kitten with my mum and dad. He was my Uncle Georgie. I ran to him and said, "Do you remember hugging a kitten named Daisy Softpaws because you were looking right at her?" He waited for a moment, then looking surprised, and said, "Yes, you are that kitten. I've missed you, my little sweetheart." And with that he wrapped his arms around me, but then he fell onto his knee. After he tried to walk, me and Joe helped him up the vines to get on top of the tree. I shouted, "Leon, wake up. My uncle needs help. Leon, get up, you lazy doctor. Please help." With the flick of my ear, I left Georgie on the table with Leon and left saying, "I'll be back. I am just getting the girls, and we will be back in an hour to get our breakfast. If we are not back in an hour, do not come and look for us. Ciao." Soon after we left, the entire camp woke up, and I left Poppy in charge for an hour. Hopefully she won't tell them where me, Joe, Sally and the twins, Jill and Lucy, went. Once we hidden in the bushes, I felt a coconut fall on my head and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was in my hut with a plate of coconut split open. I sat up when I saw that my hands had blood on. I looked down and saw that my legs were cut in bruises. I stretched over to get a coconut when I heard my sisters coming and said to myself, if I get piled on, I shall go mental and probably threw one or both of them out of the window and onto their beds. And I want to see my lovely Joe again and give him a giant hug and kiss, or to see Michael George again. I can't believe all these years he was here because my mum told me he was dead. Suddenly, the twins Lucy and Jill came in, and Lucy said with a smile on her face, "Hi sister, are you okay? Because after you got hit by the coconut, you fell over on your leg and cut it. Me, Jill, and Joe carried you back here to let you sleep." Her and Jill started to cry. Then I said, "Oi, oi, oi, I am okay, but where is Joe?" With that, the two girls said nothing. Then I really got angry and said, "Girls, where is Joe?" Then Jill handed to me a piece of paper which said, "To my dear Daisy, I have gone to find Sally and Poppy because they went looking for us, but don't worry, I will be back, and if not, I am sorry for not looking after you, so if I was wondering if you would like to go out sometime if I come back in time. If not, then this might be a goodbye. Yours sincerely, your lover, Joey Bear. P.S. Remember, I still love you no matter what." With tears streaming down my face, I said, "When did he go?" The girls looked at each other and both said, "A day ago, because you were out for a day." In seconds I knew he was taken from me because of those things in the woods. I said, "You two stay here and make sure the people are in here and lock the doors and windows after I go." Then in a flash I ran down the vines. Holding my side, I shouted, "Sally, Poppy, Joe, where are you? Sally, Poppy, Joe, where are you?" It became night very soon, but then I heard a snap behind me. I turned with my sword in my hand. Suddenly I felt something breathe down my neck, and it said, "Who is this, Sally or Poppy, because I am Joe?" I turned and said, "No, it is me, Daisy." Then it wrapped his arms around me. I lay down because I was losing blood rapidly. I fell asleep with Joe, I think, on my waist. In the morning I woke up to see Joe, Sally and Poppy around my waist. When we all woke up, we sat on Sally's back and went back to my hut, where the twins had got everyone inside. As soon as I got there, I opened the door and everyone ran out because Jill pumped and it stank. We eventually sat down for dinner. Then after they went bed, me and Joe took the first watch again, and this time me and Joe stayed put and watched out for those weird animal things. I heard something behind us. I turned around and that a sloth was standing right behind Joe. He didn't see me, but I saw him. I slid right behind the sloth and hung onto my sword, and Joe turned around and saw him there. That sticky, long-armed sloth grabbed Joe, but I grabbed him and pushed the sloth out of the tree and hung on to Joe, who was asleep for the entire thing because he is a very cheeky person. Sticky long arm. Fuck off. How? It's a sloth.